think it does. 4% is pretty. They didn't give us a significance level, so it's back in those days where you decide.
Their size
4% is pretty low. So I'd say at least it would cause you to question the fact that one of these schools probably is not telling the truth. All right. On the back, there is an example just like this. It's talking about goldfish, you know, the kind that you eat, and the color. They actually make colored ones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good for you. So, if you eat food dye and so forth, then you would. All right, Elena has this handout. We can point out what we're talking about. All right, so this homework problem. I'll make this a homework problem. That won't be due. I don't give you a due date. I want you to do it so you know how to do it. We'll follow this example exactly. So we'll just mark that as homework. And if we finish early, we'll do it in class. You don't have to do it like for tomorrow or Wednesday. It's just do it. Just do it. Sometime when you can fit it in, so you will be ready for the future. AP test for the next test. All right, so this one is a homework problem with no due date.
Okay.
All right. I want you to do it so you can understand this procedure. It's the same thing. All right, let's flip over to the back because I like teaching confidence intervals before I do tests. So go to the back where you see somebody who is sitting at a computer. Very unclear on your sheet there.
Children.
Teens and adults. All right, we talked in general basically about distributions of the difference between two proportions and two groups. So today we're going to look at specifically setting up a confidence interval. So if you would title that area two sample Z interval for the difference in two proportions. A lot of words. These words should make some sense now that we did an example that was somewhat like this, but now we're going to take it a step further and do a confidence interval. See the word interval right there? So we're going to do a confidence interval, so there won't be any guessing. We'll have a firm answer. So on the top, I'll give you the theory. On the bottom, we'll do an example. So we're going to do a confidence interval for the difference between two proportions. So give yourself the difference between two proportions from a sample. That's a number. We're going to add or plus or minus. You know how confidence intervals work. We start from a value, a point estimate. We go up and we go back. So plus or minus. We're in proportion land, so that's a z-score, it's a z star, and then it's followed by this p hat this time, 1 minus p.
Is it between two portions or proportions?
Proportions, thanks. Proportions. I got
proportions.
And 1
what did she say before?
P hat plus 1 minus 1 minus p hat p2, 1 minus p hat 2 over n2. All right, does any of that surprise you? It should be what you expected, though. From what we've learned about two proportions and what we've learned from the past for a confidence interval, this shouldn't surprise you. You always have to check RIN before you start. And remember, it's for two samples this time, so it takes a little longer. All right, let's do one. Just put it to work for us. So after you get that written down, Allie, would you read about teens and adults?
A
As part of the Pew Internet and American Life project, researchers conducted 2 surveys in late 2009. The first survey asked a random sample of 800 U.S. teens about their use of social media and the internet.
Alright, so far, I see N1. I caught that. Alright, you see anything else? Not really? Okay, go on.
The second survey posted similar questions to a random sample of 2,253 U.S. adults.
Alright, so we got teens, and then we got, look how different these sample sizes are. It's always amazed me. Okay, go on.
In these 2 studies, 73% of teens and 47% of adults said that they use social networking sites.
Alright, so this is p-hat 1 and p-hat 2 from the actual sample. Oh, that's not p-hat, is it? Sorry, I keep getting those mixed up today. So that is actually p. So p is, which one was first, 73? And p2 is, so this is actually the true proportions. Alright, go ahead.
Okay. Use the results to construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval for the difference between the proportion of all U.S. teens and adults who use social networking sites.
Alright, so basically we're going to take this information and feed it into this formula. So, Bailey, start us off. Do we have p-hat 1?
How do we know that 70% of students are
Is it p-hat? Oh, you know,
I think it says in
I
these
think
2
it is
studies,
p-hat.
so-
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously, I'm having trouble with that as well. Where she got that, where it says 800 U.S. teens, and it said the first survey had a random sample of 800 teens, and of those, 73%. So that is from the sample. So I put the hat back on. I put it on, I took it off. I put it on. All right, so Bailey, start putting in the values.
Okay. 0.73 minus 0.7.
I am P.
All right, Z. Where do we get Z star? Do you remember your training from the past?
1.96.
It is. What was it, 1.96?
1.96.
I know it was almost 2. If you
Yeah.
forget, you would look in the back and you would look for 0.95 in the body of chart A. And you would see that it was in the Z score of 1.96. So we know some of them. I think that's the only one we know. Good memory. All right. So keep going, Bailey. We've got point.
The square root of 0.73 times 1 minus 0.73.
Which is 27?
27 over 800.
Yeah. Plus.
Plus 0.47 times 0.53 over 229.
Okay. No fun, but go ahead. Tap that out. So you got to get a plus. You got to go through that with plus, and then you got to go through that with minus. And you get one shot at it. If you get it wrong, I'm sure you could get it right if you tapped it in again. See if anyone can agree on these 2 numbers. Anyone got a number, up or down?
I got up.
What'd you get?
0.297.
Anyone confirm that? We'll find out.
I didn't get that.
I got that, so I confirm it.
Who? Her or me? I got the bottom one
Try the
too.
minus one if you didn't get the upper one, don't
Point
despair.
223.
0.223?
Yeah.
Why
Anyone?
did you do that that fast?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That is the correct answer. So I'm assuming that if you slow down and do piece by piece, tap it in, you can get those answers. What does that mean when it's a confidence interval? Can you finish this statement? We are 95% confident that the true what?
Probability of
The true,
Getting
not
a diff-
probability, but the true what? Not a probability. Huh? It's not only proportions, but in this case, the difference in the proportions.
the true.
So that's a pain. The true difference in the proportions is found in this interval. Is in there somewhere. So what's that saying in real life? What between what and what percent?
22.
Does this mean there's more teens or more adults that use social media? Of course. So in real life, between 22 and 30%, I round it. From this interval, I got a 22%, and from that part of the interval, I got a 30%. So between 22 and 30%, more teens
What?
than adults
I said with what?
use social media and the internet. So, this is the practical result of that
Has it been 15
question.
minutes?
Between 22 and 30% more teens than adults use social media and the internet. So that's the practical conclusion we can make. All right, your homework problem to mimic this is in your book. Homework number 17 will do this exact sort of thing. That's section 10.1, page 623. That homework has no due date. So, try to get it done like on
All right.
by Friday.